Catalan, or we say like it's Moroccan Swiss. Tranquilo. No worry, no worry. Don't touch, don't touch. Tranquilo, don't touch. Come, my friend, come, this picture is really.
Vas-y, colle-toi à lui, colle-toi à lui.
No worry, no worry.
Lui, en mode combat. Moi, je suis vraiment petit, mais moi, j'ai 13 ans. Oui, en fait, c'est ça. Les singes, tu vois, c'est les singes lieux touristiques. C'est pas les singes dans la nature. Moi, j'ai vu ceux qui sont des temples. C'est une phrase en mode Valentine qui dit ouais, là-bas, c'est les TDAH. Toi qui dis ouais, c'est quoi son énorme objet? Une petite regarde avec 40 ans. À chaque minute de
living in the tents. And this is the animal of the nomad. And guys, that's people that we're moving all the time. We are, that this is Medels. Medels, that city, there is that city between the mountains of the Middle Atlas and the mountains of the High Atlas. City of apples, Apple City. Okay, so guys, you can enjoy with this view of this canyon. We are now in the entry of the Ziz Canyon. The name of the canyon is Ziz Canyon. that is in your right side, that is like in the Berber village. You see guys, behind there is like one, like the houses is empty. Like it's very old. And all the people that we live in there before, long time ago, we move in building the new houses. Because for the people of the, like for the culture of the Berber people, long time ago, we live in all together.
لا رحنا. Do you have water? I'm going to get
No.
حبيبتي
Boy, good.
Someone just told me the Lubia is really good. Let me go.
For the time I use lazy. Even lazy.
We are, this is Tin Gher. On your right side, there is like some woman, some Berber woman wash the clothes in the river. Wash the clothes by hand. The Berber village. Because for a long time ago, there is like so many Moroccan Jewish living in this area. The name of the valley is Tudra Valley.
Most of those families are living in the caves. Okay, cave. Here is the old name for the whole city. The new name Timothy. Now it's not allowed to go without a guide. Since there is those. Just feel. You can see the two people tree over there in the top.
It's like
um acordo de autonomia.
Fazer política externa, né?
There is other one, less sour a little. You can try, but you like less sour. Yes, each one sees. If you like more, you can. Good luck. That is an act of cat. We call it hashish or fasa. Two words. Hashish, fasa. It's clear now? 15 days, we cut alpha. Hashish comes from verb. Take bathroom, and then there is one pickle sauce over here. You can see this is How are you? I'm fine. This is for to show the identity to belong tomorrow.
Okay, I see.
In Arabic, Allah.
Nuane foda kudus nganga ay kauda asute kauda nganga Aba wasidaya mama ay nganga dai watiskinga Nuane foda kudus nganga ay kauda asute kauda nganga Aba wasidaya mama ay nganga dai watiskinga
Big tower. This is like the big complex of the solar power. House people that we live in the city. And almost the people that we live here is the military. Military, because like this is the last big city to the border of Algeria. And almost like the border between the countries is close. There is no like in the border there is the military. It's from this city. Pay the ticket, and that's like this is not some more thing more important inside. This is the Kasbah of Ait Ben Haddoush, the Kasbah of UNESCO. It's a place that like we do like movies, so many films. It's over there. See, there is some people on the top of the mountains, but now guys we go like for walking. We have like it's almost 1.5 hours walk with the local guys for the visit inside to the castles.
Ay, paano tayo na?
Ways to stay together, because as you see, the top is covered not enough high. Okay? Inshallah, but if we walk too fast. 5 kasbahs means 5 powerful families. Renovate like a bank of the castle where we can protect them with food.
Land where they can have gross vegetation. That means our grandfathers, they were far. If you heard about the history of Odyssey, so they built the city Troy here. And when they reached 7-8 meters, they continue with the bricks.
And the foundation.
You make this?
Okay, are we ready to burn some calories?
Non, c'est ça qu'on a dit.
They need about 6 months or 1 year to put it outside. I'll show you one picture. Berber alphabet, exactly. This is the language of North of Africa before existing Islam. Still right now. Now, just we can say 60% can speak in Berber. But 40% no. This is leather, goat skin, okay? And saffron. There is indigo, you can see it, blue stone. Now,
This technique is only in this village, it's not anywhere. This is how
okay? Maybe you see something else here.
D'abord.
يا لالي بابا مستش.
Ou bien comme ça. Tu veux comme ça?
Nein, das ist einfach leichter zu machen. Ja.
Cicatriza, manchas
Okay, so guys, the places we are now, that this is in the middle of the Atlas Mountains.
Я думаю, то, что это те, кто только что приехали. Но я себя чувствую...
Thank you.